The truth sets you free. With the world's fastest reader, Howard Stephen Berg. Hi everyone, I'm Howard Berg. I'm the world's fastest reader. I'm excited to be here on my very first show. Well, not quite my first show. I've been on 1,100 shows. This is my first show that's a Howie show, but I really want this to be your show. I want this to be about the truth setting you free. And as the world leading expert on learning, I want to be able to share with you strategies for learning super fast and have exciting guests that will also provide you with important information. But first, I'd like to mention our sponsor today, and our sponsor is Wheatland Dental Center, and it's with Dr. Harry Sugg. He's an amazing man, and there's a little bit of a video, if you could cue it up. Dr. Sugg is the dentist for the NFL Players Association. Just listen to what they have to say. Could you please put the video up for Dr. Sugg?
I'm here at Wheatland Dental. As you can see, my mouth is a little twisted. Just got some work done by Dr. Suggs. People ask me all the time, I live in Los Angeles, why do I come way to Dallas to get my dental work done? I said, you couldn't come to a better facility than Wheatland Dental with Dr. Suggs and his staff, very first class. I think most people don't like coming to the dentist. I'm one of the people who don't mind it, especially when you have a doctor like Dr. Suggs that's so attention to detail, and his staff is so top-notch, and the person that he is, he's become a really good friend of mine, so that's one reason I come here to Dallas, Texas, to Wheatland Dental, and I'll say it again, he changed my life, trying to change my smile, and help me with my sleep apnea, and I'm just glad to come here. I'm glad they can do this for me, and I'm sure he can do it for a lot of other players and a lot of people, but most definitely the retired players for sure.
And there's Dr. Suggs' address. It's 3940 West Wheatland Road. An easy number, 972-22 Smile. Just where he actually saved my life. That's why I'm so excited to be using him as a sponsor. I had an infection, and it was the size of my thumb and my upper gum. And normally that would be removed surgically by a surgeon in a hospital. Dr. Sugg worked 6 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day for 30 years. He was actually given the title of the hardest working dentist in America. So I'm very proud that he's our sponsor. Well, today, being our first show, I thought I'd share with you how to read faster, since that's what I'm known for. You may have seen me read the healthcare bill on Cavuto in just 50 minutes. It was 1,500 pages, and said, how does he do it? Well, I'm going to show you how I do it, because I'm going to show you how to do it. After today's show, I want you to find a book, a nonfiction book that you've read already, and understand. So the only thing that might confuse you is how fast you're reading and not what you're reading. If you're reading something and it's like, I don't get it, that's a bad book. If you're reading it and I understand it, that's a good book. Read for 1 minute at your normal rate with a timer. And when you're done, take a pencil and just mark off in the book where you finished. So now you know how far you read under your normal reading speed. Go to the second chapter, and I'm going to show you a secret trick. You're going to take your hand, and you're going to go from the left to the right margin, one line at a time, with your eyes, let me get this right, your eyes following your hand, one line at a time, as quickly as you could comprehend. As long as you know what you're reading, keep going quicker till you don't, so you find your ceiling, and slow down just enough so your comprehension comes back. And for 5 minutes, go one line at a time, as quickly as you could comprehend. After those 5 minutes are up, go back to the first chapter where you initially tested your reading speed, and do it again, but this time using your hand, and time yourself again for just 1 minute, and you'll be amazed. You're going to go 10, 15, 20% further than you did on the first pass before you learn this little trick. It's that easy to learn to speed up. And each week, I'm going to provide you with another learning and success strategy to help empower you in a world where what you know determines your success. And speaking of success, we have a wonderful guest today. And my guest is Steve Paul. And Steve is going to be talking to us about a very important event that's going to be taking place in Dallas. That's a national event called the Texas Rally. So what can you tell us about this Texas Rally? What do we need to know about it?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much, Howard, for having me on the show. This is the Big Texas Rally for Recovery. Now we have a recovery movement in the United States that's been going on now for about 20 6 years, and that's since the federal government have got involved with, and when I say the federal government, I'm talking about the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They've actually launched back then a recovery month for the federal government for people to participate in recovery. And recovery month is September. So September, there's a lot of events around the country. And I'm one of the planning partners for recovery month, right? That means that I go to Washington, D.C. 3 times a year for
I'm
meetings.
sorry.
I know, right? 3 times a year, I got to go up there, right? And it always, of course, and then in September, it ends with the kickoff for Recovery Month for September, which they usually have at their press club in Washington, D.C., and they bring in the Office of National Drug Control Policy, which this year is Mike Botticelli is the director for that. For the office, he's a director. It used to be called a drug czar. Now he's called a recovery czar.
Oh.
Because he's in recovery himself, and he talks about that. And you probably heard him on television talking about the opiate epidemic.
Yes, I
Right.
was going to ask you about that.
Right.
It's a very major issue right now, health issue for this country, isn't it?
Major issue. So he's going to be one of our guests at the Big Texas Rally for recovery. And also, of course, SAMHSA, again, and that's the federal agency, right? They also bring on, of course, the person who's in charge, the administrator of SAMHSA, and then we have a lot of employees. So my organization and myself, I'm the president and CEO of APA, the Association of Persons Affected by Addiction in Dallas, right? And I've been the executive director and founder of this organization since 1998. In 1998 is when the federal government also decided that, only 10% of this country is receiving treatment for addiction and mental health, right?
That's bad.
So 90% of the country still needs treatment and recovery, right? And where do they get it from, right? And we know that today we honor all roads to recovery. But because only 10% is receiving treatment, how do we get more people into treatment? So they came up with the recovery, peer-to-peer recovery support service grant, right? And in that recovery support service program, which we call the RCSP, right, that's when we learn about recovery support services, and then the different things that we can do to engage people into recovery and into treatment, right? And so one is people in recovery that are helping those that are seeking recovery. And that's what I do, right, as an organization,
That's a great thing.
myself, right. And I'm a person in long-term recovery, right? Joe Powell is my name again, and as a person in long-term recovery, what that means is that I haven't had a drink of alcohol myself in 27 years, right? And it's only because of recovery, right, that I haven't also used any other drugs or opiates in over 40 years, right? Since I came to Texas in '73, right? But also, so my story leads into why and what do I do today. Being a person coming out of New York City, off the streets, of New York, and also having an alcoholic father in the house, raised in a family where the dad was alcoholic.
And it's also genetics. I've heard a lot of children of alcoholics, often if they don't become alcoholics, it's because of willpower and choice, but it's their inclination. Their body craves the alcohol, and if they have it, they easily get addicted. Is that true?
You got it halfway through there. That's right. One is that we know that a person that do have an addiction, that they really lose the power of choice. So a lot of people who feel that, well, it's just a willpower, or that you can choose to stop drinking alcohol or choose to stop using drugs. Once the brain has been hijacked by drugs and alcohol, then you really lose the power of choice. So now that person becomes, again, it's a biopsychosocial, because now the brain, of course, has taken over and the drug has taken over. So now that person needs to get off, probably out of the family, off the streets, into a place where they can get professional treatment.
I
Right?
have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned 90% of the people needing treatment don't have access. And I guess I'm wondering, are those 90% people who want treatment who don't have access, or are those people who have a problem and don't want to be helped? How many of that 90% is actually people seeking help?
Right, and those are the 90% that are seeking hope.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
those are the 22 million people that we have right now in the country that have been diagnosed also with addiction, but don't want the help. You know what I mean? We know that at least 22 million people right now in the country, right, that don't have don't believe that they need help, but they also are addicted because, you know, maybe their family member
Sure.
has hurt and they've caused problems, you know what I mean? They've lost their jobs, you know. So there's many symptoms and many reasons why a person show that they have a problem, right? But they don't believe that they have a problem, right? Now, the ones that do want help,
And
right?
that's the 90%.
No.
No, the 90% is the whole group.
Right, the 90% of the people
What percentage of those people actually do want help?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a good question right there on how many people really want help, because those are the ones that really get help. And I think that right now we say that there's 23 million Americans that are in recovery, like myself.
It's a lot.
Right,
It's
right.
a lot of people.
So, right. So you can say that, you know, of course, that I wanted help and I seeked help and I received help. And now I'm a person in long-term recovery.
Yes,
so,
seek and find.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's what I like about what you do is you're giving people a second chance. Everyone makes mistakes in life. Maybe we don't become addicts, but we do something that we're not proud of and we wish we hadn't done, and we try to correct it. And in your case, and in these people's cases, it just happens to be a substance that was the problem. But you have to respect someone who recognizes they made a mistake and seeks to correct it. Does every state have this kind of event, or is this more of a national event?
Yeah, this right here is every state and almost every city knows about Recovery Month, knows about September and Recovery Month. We last year our organization we had 17 proclamations from 17 mayors, 17 surrounding cities that actually gave us a proclamation proclaiming September as Recovery Month.
Around the country?
Right, and this is around, my 17 was just here in Texas though. We're just around here. But again, you have, you know, in every state, there is something going on as far as recovery. We've had over 1,000 events every year for the last 5 years, right?
Wow.
That in around the country that actually participate in Recovery Month activities, right? So the thing is to eliminate the stigma and the shame, right, and the silence that's associated with addiction and mental health, right? Because we know that with addiction, people are that's one of the reasons why people say, I don't have no problem, right? It's because
They're
in my
embarrassed.
family, right, we don't say that we got no addiction in my family or, you know, or mental health problem in our family.
Sure.
Right? So it's very important that we see that this is a way that when people come together, that's one way. We've got to stop the silence. The more people that talk about recovery, the more people that are out about, you know what I mean, their recovery. It's like I said, I'm a person in long-term recovery. And it's only because
You're
of
proof
recovery.
that it works.
I am living
Look at
proof.
how many years you've gone. I mean, for all intents and purposes.
Yes.
I mean, I know I'm a psychobiologist. I know when you're addicted, it doesn't go away.
Right.
But you definitely have shown that if someone chooses a better path for themselves,
Right.
and they have the right support
Right.
to do it, they can
Yes.
accomplish amazing things.
That's right. And that's the key, is the support and services that go along with now that the government, as well as our communities and now the State Department, everyone is involved right now, right? And making sure that we have the support. So when we say support, we're talking about information support, right? Whatever information that a person needs about addiction recovery or mental health, we have that available for you
And can I ask you, what is it all types of addictions, or are there specific kinds of addictions you're targeting? Or if it's an addiction of any kind, is this something that can benefit the person's coming?
Yeah. Definitely anyone that have an addiction can really be a part of the recovery movement.
Could it
because
even
they're
be
in
like
recovery.
gambling addiction?
Right. Anyone that have any type of addiction can be a part of the recovery movement, because then it's about recovery, which is about really restoring health. It's about transformation, right? It's about this new quality of life that I have today, right, that I didn't have before, that I didn't have a clue on how to stop using drugs and be a part of the community again, right? So any part of addiction, but information, there's 4 supports that we provide, and now 5 supports when we talked about education, you know. And so one is information support, right, to have that available for a person if they need to go to treatment, et cetera, right? Instrumental support, that means jobs and housing. What's instrumental that a person has to have to recover from drugs and alcohol, right? So jobs and housing, right, and health, right? The diet, right? Health is very important when we talk about instrumental for that person, right? Affiliation support. That means that who do I affiliate with? Who do I hang out with? Right?
You
That's
go out with your
very
friends.
important, right?
If you're around people who are abusing themselves, you're going to have a very hard time not getting involved in it again.
Right, and that's very important. My companionship. We do a thing called Jamming in Recovery every month, right? Where people go and learn how to dance and party and have a good time. Hundreds of people, right? Without drugs and alcohol, right? And so we have the recovery movement to come in and be a part of that. The recovery at the movies. We do that at the Angelica Theater every month. Every month we show a movie at the big screen, right? On
Yes.
Mark and Burton 75 called Recovery at the Movies, right? And really engage with the community. And that's affiliation report. Education support, right? Helping people with education from high schools, like we're going to talk about today, is that one of the high schools is Serenity High, right?
I'm familiar with that. It's in McKinney.
It is?
I didn't attend it, just so you know, but I have spoken there. I also try to help youngsters that have trouble learning, and many of those kids did have learning disabilities, and it's part of why they became addicted. And I was counseling. I did a workshop there on how to learn faster.
Really?
Yes, it's quite a few years ago, but I live in McKinney, so yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you see how Recovery High School, right? Because of that school there, of course, it even started with a man who actually saw that the importance of that because of his own family, that how important it is to start to have a school where young people and don't have the barrier or drugs and alcohol to stop me from an education that I need, from a high school, you know what I mean, education.
Get 'em early.
And moving forward.
So you can reprogram them early
Yes.
from this before they have so much damage and
Exactly.
it gets much more difficult.
Exactly.
Well, I know you're having a rally, and when you say who should attend the rally, I'm wondering, is it not just for people with addiction problems, but family members and,
Yes.
and people who are affected by people who have addictions, even if the person isn't acknowledging it, they see it. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Even the supporters. We have a lot of allies, supporters, stakeholders, partners, and sponsors, you know, and including, like, for instance, this year, the sponsors, we have the Dallas Mavericks, right?
Oh, nice.
Right? They are supporting us, the DART bus system, right? Who is the official transportation sponsor for the rally. We have Betty Ford Institute in Hazelden, right? Who is also a sponsor and is going to be one of our speakers, and also have a pep rally. The pep rally is going to be over at SMU in Dallas this year, and that's going to be the night before. We also are showing a Texas Theater. We're going to also show a couple of the movies. One is a great movie about recovery. It's called The Anonymous People. And The Anonymous People is, and I'm in the movie, right? But you can also go to Netflix also if you want to see The Anonymous People. But it talks about the recovery movement.
Where in Netflix? Where would that be on Netflix? I know
Well,
maybe
just search, The Anonymous People. Yeah, so people that have Netflix, you know, you can just go there
Yeah.
and just pull up The Anonymous People, and that movie will show up.
Super. Can I say something? I know a lot of our viewers are church members, and it would be a wonderful thing to share with the pastor and person running your church and let them know about this. You probably have members of your church and certainly in your community that have addiction problems, some of whom aren't acknowledging it. And here's a wonderful opportunity to get involved with an event that could help these people. And that's really what our institutions are for, helping the community. So please, I would like to, can I ask if you could put his contact information up for a second? And if you have a paper and pad, can you write this down? TexasRecovers.org. That's TexasRecovers.org. Let the people in your community know through your churches. That's what churches are for, to help people. And here's a man who's giving his life to helping people have a better life. So hopefully some of our viewers will also do that. And even if you're not in our area, as you said, it's national.
Yep.
Find out what's going on in your community and how your church can get involved, helping these people get back on the right path and make the right decisions and recognize that they have a problem, they need help, and get them the help that they need. I think that would be a wonderful thing for our viewers to be involved with as well.
Yep. The cool thing also is when you mention the church, right, is that we know that there's many roads, and we honor all roads to recovery. And my organization, that's one of the things that we do, is that we don't turn anybody away that needs help, right? So we have many Christians, what we call faith-based recovery, right?
Okay.
So
Like
many
AAA has a faith, it's a lot of that in the 12-step program, I believe.
Right,
I'm a
right.
psychologist, so I did
Right.
study these things.
Exactly, right. So the 12-step program is a spiritual program versus the Christian and faith-based program is religious, right?
Okay.
And so and just like medication assisted, just like a Buddhist or a Muslim, you know, all of them are roads to recovery. Whatever road that a person say that they will take, You know, we let God be God in this because it ain't me. But so if you whatever you choose, you know what I mean. My job is just to coach you along in your recovery so you can have the support and the services for you to sustain recovery. And so, yeah, like we said, as far as the faith community, it's huge. And there's many people that's going to be here. We got the Potter's House and churches, and we hope, you know what I mean, to get Hillcrest Church also to be involved. We hope to get them
I'd
involved.
imagine
in
a
many
lot
others.
of churches have these programs too.
They do. They do.
do.
We were talking about that earlier, that I work with a lot of churches that already have those.
And if you don't, you should be
right.
thinking about starting one in your church to help the people who need that type of help. And he'd be a wonderful person for you to get in touch with to show you how to get it done and do it the right way. Obviously, what you're doing is working,
Yep.
and be a great model for anyone in the faith-based community to be involved with.
That's right. That's right. And the faith community, along with the schools, back to the schools too, is that we talked about high schools like Serenity High School in McKinney, but also Texas has the largest number of schools, high schools, colleges, and universities with recovery programs.
I did not know that.
Right. There's three of them. There's collegiate recovery programs, which is at University of Texas in Austin, Texas Tech, UT Arlington, University of North Texas here in Denton has the largest population of students in recovery. 1,300 students.
That's a lot.
Right, in recovery, have identified, and they got a huge recovery program right at UNT in Denton.
And what is
University
the
of North
most
Texas.
common problem among the younger people? Is it alcohol or drugs, or is it a combination?
It's both. It's a combination. Yeah. Alcohol and drugs, and every year, and marijuana, of course. But every year, of course, the underage campaign, underage drinking campaign, continues on all school campuses, all the way from middle school all the way up. You know, so yeah, it's a huge problem. Drinking and also marijuana is probably some of the top two.
We're almost done. I have a couple more questions I'd like to cover before we finish. How has recovery evolved in the years that you've been involved with the APPA, and help people? What's changed? How has it moved in a different direction? What have you seen?
Well, it's getting better because of the recovery movement, and because now we have recovery in the White House all the way down to the communities. And that's where we are moving toward
Betty
today.
Ford.
Right, Betty Ford,
Yeah.
Betty Ford Institute, you know, in Hazleton, you know, right here in Dallas area, you know, Inner Health, Dr. Urshel, you know, there's many, there's public treatment and then there's private treatment, of course, we know. And so with the insurance, of course, and with the help of the ACA, now more people can access treatment and parity, right? We got to know also that more attention is being involved with people with mental health challenges, as well as along with addictions, what we call co-occurring disorders, right? So those are a lot of that is happening. People that have addictions also have either depression, bipolar, or schizophrenia, right?
Makes
So
sense.
that's today is also, it's a lot more help in that. We actually train. You mentioned my organization, you said, which is the Association of Persons Affected by Addiction.
APAA.
APAA, that's right. And so for 18 years, we've been doing this and have been federally funded, managed care funded, foundation, community funded, you know, private funded, to make sure that we work in communities, right? And our job is make sure, again, is to get people to recovery. We don't do treatment, even though I'm a licensed chemical dependency counselor for 20 years.
Do you do this only in the state of Texas, or are you involved nationally?
I'm involved nationally.
Oh, great, because
Yeah,
we
I
have
am
people
involved.
from other parts of the country
Right.
watching, and again, this would be a wonderful opportunity to be able to reach
Yes.
him and find out what you can do in your community to
Right.
help the people who need the help.
Right. So yeah, I think that it's important that we see that how that today is a lot more work that's being done at the community level that haven't been done before. It was always at the treatment, and people didn't see recovery. Like, you know, years before treatment, treatment didn't start in this country till the early 60s.
Really?
Right, yeah, with the Phoenix House in New York,
remember
and
that, yeah.
Daytop program, Centacor, you know, all of those. That was in the 60s. Before that, there was no treatment for addiction. You know, I remember my dad, I told you, was an alcoholic in the family I grew up. You know, when my dad got drunk or was intoxicated or had to go into the hospital, you know where they took him? To Bellevue Hospital. which
That
was
was
the
great.
insane asylum,
yes, the
right?
asylum.
That's right, because that was the treatment. That was the only treatment that they had, right?
At the time.
So yeah, at the time. So it was very important that we see that how today it's more the community involved now, how the church is involved now, how the community is involved. We're doing recovery support services at our organ. We have a community center where the center we provide different services and where the community can come in and be involved.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap up, so I just
Okay.
want to say a couple of things. First, can you please put his information back up for people to get in touch with him? That's texasrecovers.org. The big rally is on October 2nd, so I know a lot of you watching who can make it to the rally will want to be there. And for those who can't, please get in touch with the organization. Find out what you can do in your community to help people. Now, before I finish, I want to tell you a little about something special I have planned for you. As I said, this is my very first show, and I want to make this more about you than about me. So I'm going to give you my email. If you have questions about learning for your church, for your kids, for your work, even just for you, a senior who wants to stay mentally fit, you can email me at Mr. Reader, MRREADER at MSN.com. And if you have a good topic, we can make it a topic for a future show. And I've got something else very, very special planned. And if you could put this up on the screen, it's from Howard.com/appointment. That's www.fromhoward.com/appointment. I'm going to give you the opportunity to contact me through my automated appointment maker, and I will give you a free consultation on how to help you, your family, your kids, the people you care about, absolutely free. I'll help you learn. I'll set up a phone consultation. I'll get on the phone, tell me what's going on, what are you trying to accomplish, what are the problems you're facing, and let me see what I can do to make a difference and help you. Because that's what this station's about. It's about serving the community and making a difference, and I want to do that too. That's why I was so pleased when they invited me to have a show, because I feel helping people learn has been my mission. I've had kids as young as 11 go to college and get A's in as little as a week. Very, very, and that is more exciting to me than being in the Guinness Record book. Seeing a 19-year-old pass the bar in California, more exciting to me. It isn't about me, it's about you. So again, you could send me an email at mrreader@msn.com or go to fromhoward.com/appointment, and I will be delighted to give you a complimentary assessment for you and your family. Well, we're almost out of time. I want to thank our guests for such an interesting proposal and helping the community. And I want to thank you for watching. Please tell your friends about this show and let me know what you want to learn to be more successful in your information-rich world. Well, we're almost done, so I want to say thank you for coming, and I want to wish you and yours the best of success, and I look forward to seeing you next week on our next show. Till then, this is Howard Berg, the world's fastest reader, wishing you a wonderful week. See you next week. Thank you so much. The truth sets you free. With the world's fastest reader, Howard Stephen Berg.